It was a quiet morning on a narrow street lined with gray stone walls, the kind of street people passed by without giving it a second thought. The air was calm, but heavy, like it knew something unexpected was about to happen. A luxury black car slowed to a stop near the curb. The driver, a man with streaks of silver in his long hair and a tailored suit that spoke of money and status, stepped out gently. He moved with a calm grace, pushing a wheelchair where his daughter, no more than 10, sat silently. Her hands rested quietly on her lap. Her legs didn't move. They hadn't for years. This man, Mr. Raymond, was known to the world as a successful businessman, a millionaire with everything money could buy. But behind his polished image and powerful network, he carried a quiet heartbreak. His daughter, Lily, had lost the ability to walk after a tragic car accident 2 years ago. Every doctor had tried. Every treatment had failed. And now he had resigned to a life where his little girl would never run, never dance, never walk again. At least, that's what he believed. But fate had other plans. As Raymond wheeled Lily down the sidewalk, their path was blocked, not by traffic or construction, but by a boy. A boy who looked no older than Lily. He was sitting barefoot against the wall, dressed in tattered clothes, his skin dusty, his eyes bright and alive despite the harshness of life around him. He was a beggar. People passed him every day, barely noticing. But today, he didn't just sit quietly with his hand outstretched. Today, he stood up and said something no one expected. "Uncle, I know how to make your daughter walk again." Raymond paused. He looked at the boy, stunned not just by the words, but the confidence with which he spoke them. Lily glanced up too, curious but cautious. The boy wasn't asking for food or money. His voice didn't shake. His eyes didn't waver. He spoke like someone who knew something important. At first, Raymond thought it was just a child's imagination. Or maybe a scam. After all, the world was full of those who preyed on desperation. But something about the boy's tone was different. He wasn't trying to convince anyone. He was simply stating a fact. "I can help her," he said again, this time softer, almost like a whisper only meant for Lily. Raymond narrowed his eyes. "What did you say?" "I said I know how to help her walk," the boy repeated, taking a step closer, holding his hands out to show he meant no harm. "Not with medicine, not with surgery. But I need you to trust me." There was a silence that hung between them for a long second. Cars passed in the distance. A dog barked somewhere down the block. But all Raymond could hear was his own heartbeat thudding in his chest. Trust a beggar boy on the street with his daughter's future? It sounded ridiculous. Dangerous, even. But something in his gut, some small whisper of a father's hope, told him to listen just a little longer. "Who are you?" he asked finally. The boy smiled, but there was pain in his eyes. "My name's Kofi. I've lived on these streets all my life. I don't have much, but I've seen things, learned things most people never do." Raymond studied him carefully. "And you're saying you can fix what the best doctors in the world couldn't?" "I'm not saying I can fix her," Kofi said, his voice steady. "I'm saying I know something they don't. But I can't tell you here. You have to come with me." Raymond felt a chill crawl up his spine. Take his daughter into an alley or a back street, following a boy he knew nothing about. Every part of his logical mind screamed no. But then he looked down at Lily, and for the first time in months, he saw a spark in her eyes. Not fear, not sadness, but hope. And that changed everything. Still, Raymond hesitated. This wasn't how healing was supposed to happen. There were hospitals for this, specialists, science. But right now, none of those had worked. And this boy, this stranger, had offered something no one else had, a chance. However small, however strange, it was a chance he couldn't ignore. He took a deep breath and looked at Kofi. "If I go with you," he said slowly, "and this is some kind of game." "It's not," Kofi cut in. "But I understand your fear. All I ask is 1 hour. Just one." The street grew quiet again. Raymond's hand rested gently on Lily's shoulder. She looked up at him, her eyes full of questions. He looked back at her, then at Kofi. And then he nodded. But what Kofi showed them next would shake everything they thought they knew, not just about healing, but about the power of faith, the meaning of pain, and the miracles hiding in the most unexpected places. To be continued. Kofi led them down a quiet alley, away from the main road, past crumbling walls and rusted gates. Raymond kept his hand tight on the wheelchair, his eyes scanning every corner with a mix of worry and hope. They eventually reached a small courtyard behind an old abandoned building. It didn't look like much, just a few scattered bricks, a wooden bench, and a patch of earth warmed by sunlight. But to Kofi, it was something more. He knelt down and placed his hand on the ground. "This is where I come when I need to feel strong," he said softly. "There's something about this place. It's where I met someone who taught me about the power of stillness, of believing beyond what we see." Raymond didn't understand. "You brought us here for what? Prayer?" "Not just prayer," Kofi said, looking at Lily. "She's lost her legs, not her spirit. What's broken in the body can sometimes be carried by the heart, but only if the heart is allowed to believe again." Kofi then turned to Lily, kneeling beside her. "Can I show you something?" he asked. She nodded slowly. Kofi reached into his small bag and pulled out a wooden carving. It was old, worn smooth by time. "This was given to me by a healer," he said. "He said when you hold it and let go of fear, the body listens to the soul. It doesn't always work how you expect, but sometimes it does." He placed the carving in Lily's hands. "Close your eyes. Just breathe. Feel the ground beneath you. Don't think about walking. Think about standing. Just standing." Lily did as he said. Her breathing slowed. Her fingers gripped the carving tightly. Raymond crouched beside her, holding her hand. A long silence followed. Nothing happened at first. The wind brushed through the trees. A bird landed nearby. But then, slowly, Lily opened her eyes. She looked down at her feet. Then, like something inside her had shifted, she pushed against the armrests. Her legs trembled. And before Raymond could react, she stood. Not perfectly. Not without help. But she stood. Raymond's heart stopped. His hands trembled. "Lily." She looked at him with wide, stunned eyes. "Daddy, I can feel them." Tears poured down his face. He didn't care if it was science or faith, or just something that couldn't be explained. In that moment, his daughter stood for the first time in years, and the boy who had nothing gave them everything. Kofi stepped back quietly, his face calm. "It's not about me," he said. "It's about what you choose to believe." Raymond hugged his daughter tightly. "How can I ever thank you?" Kofi smiled gently. "Just don't stop believing in miracles, even when they come from the streets." They left that alley not just with hope, but with something deeper, a reminder that healing doesn't always come from hospitals or money. Sometimes it comes from the most unlikely people in the most forgotten places. And sometimes, a little boy in tattered clothes knows exactly what the heart needs to begin again. As they walked away, Raymond looked back, but Kofi was gone, just like he had appeared. But his words remained. And from that day on, Raymond never passed a beggar without stopping. Because now he knew, sometimes the answers we're searching for are sitting quietly on the side of the road, just waiting for us to listen. And maybe, just maybe, that's where real miracles begin.